What's poppin', world? I hope all is well. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that bell so you get notification every time I go live, anytime I host a video. If you've been here before and you know I'm about to put that fire out, go ahead and hit that like button so we can get to the YouTube algorithm and more people can see this content. And if at any point during this video you like what you're hearing, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Let's get into this. The topic for today is this. Is the man's number one problem his urge for sex? Is a man's biggest problem his urge for sex and the things he'll do to get it? We're going to watch a couple of clips from the Anton Daniels channel. Go check him out. He's putting some great content out on a daily basis. Go check him out. We're going to watch a couple of clips and I'm going to break this all the way down.
One of the biggest problems that I see with a lot of men is that they want sex too much. Like, they don't know how to control that. And that is the number one driver, because that will make you do things that don't lead to success.
All right, so you heard that. We'll play it one more time for you, for the people in the back.
One of the biggest problems that I see with a lot of men is that they want sex too much. Like, they don't know how to control that. And that is the number one driver, because that will make you do things that don't lead to success.
All right, guys. Now we're going to slide over to this next clip. We're going to hear Anton Daniels speak on this. And then I'm going to give my 2 cents.
Dear freaking Christ.
Listen, you don't even have to be having... Bro, you don't have to be busting down a woman to be obsessed with sex. A lot of people is obsessed with porn. A lot of people is obsessed with everything that it has to do with women. Listen, you know why guys simp out so bad? It's because they want the validation of women. They're not looking for the validation of men. They're not looking for the validation of a lot of other people. If you have dick discipline, we don't have 90% of the problems that we see visible from a lot of these celebrities today. Dick discipline is literally one of the number one ways that you can prevent things from happening to you, because you can start to see clearly. That you can see the most gangsterous of dudes, and he can off a bunch of people. He could be one of the biggest thugs. And the best way to get that nigga set up is through a woman. Why is that? If it wasn't for a lack of dick discipline, he would never ever be off his square just from a woman.
So do you
why are dudes so addicted to porn? Why do people jack off so much? Why do we have so much erectile dysfunction when it comes to guys, and you starting to see commercials every single day for the blue pill? It's a reason for that. They're feeding into it. Porn sites are blowing up all day long. OnlyFans chicks is making more money than they never made. The OnlyFans site is making more money than ever before. So how can you not say that that's not a huge magnified problem for guys today? Whether or not you actually get in the box is irrelevant, but what drives you to do some of the decisions that you're doing and making on a daily basis, all surrounding sex, is a issue. That's a huge issue. The biggest thing that I always tell dudes is dick discipline. We talk to dudes all day long, and they gotta see it through. I just gotta see it through. Niggas be doing all kind of shit. Why you think that post-nut clarity is a thing? Post-nut clarity is a thing because dudes then wake up and take that limitless pill the minute that they get their nut off, which then brings them back to their common sense. That's why a lot of guys even tell guys, hey man, make sure you go ahead and jack off before you go on that date so you can see things clearly. Like dudes be doing some wild shit every day for the box. They be falling in love, getting side chicks. Now nigga, if you decide that you want to go out here and bust down another chick, okay, all right, we get it. You had a moment of weakness, whatever. Then niggas be falling in love. They be falling in love with a chick that ain't even for them. That's all of ours. And it's because of the box. And listen, it's the only weapon women have. It's the only weapon that they have to prevent you from being great. And you fall for it. We've been falling for it since Eve. We've been falling for it since the beginning of time. Dudes have lost whole kingdoms over a hoe. And you telling me, whole kingdoms over a hoe, and you telling me that that's not one of the biggest problems? Really, the reality is that the biggest problem is the women, but you can't get mad at them because women gonna do what women do. Like, women are rebellious. They're gonna get out of line. They're gonna do dumb shit. They're gonna leverage you against yourself. They're gonna fuck your man, and they don't even like each other. They're gonna fuck their homegirls, man, and then they gonna fucking crash out, and it's gonna be some wild shit, right? But ultimately, it all comes back down to the box, and dudes that don't have no discipline and have a lack of discipline, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna lose. They can build the whole kingdom, and then somebody's daughter come along, and they crash the fuck out. Most of these dudes that's in jail today, a lot of them getting caught up trying to impress a hoe, get caught up getting, you know what I'm saying, doing all kind of wild shit. We got a sex offender registry. That shit is a mile and a half long in every state. That's a lack of discipline, bro. We even see dudes setting themselves up. One of the biggest shows that they had to take off the air because a fucking judge almost killed themselves was How to Catch a Predator.
Oh, really?
Yes. How to Catch a Predator.
Hey, why did the judge almost kill herself?
Was doing some of the dumbest shit. They was coming from 2 states over to meet Chris Hansen. These niggas is wild. I'm telling you. Listen, I believe it. I don't know if anybody on here can tell me different, but I know that it's a lack of discipline that's driving y'all niggas to do some wild shit.
But why would someone not?
All right, guys. So you saw that, you heard that. Sorry for the long clip. Now, Anton, shout out to Anton Daniels. He's a genius. You know, he does a great job. It is what it is. But he's saying that it's definitely one of the biggest problems. I think he said the number one problem happened to be the women themselves. But he said the man's urge for sex, right, is definitely one of the biggest problems that men tend to have, right, in life, right? So check this out. You clicked on this video for a reason, right? You want to hear what I got to say about this. Let's get into this. What I would say is this. A man's urge for sex and the things he'll do for it, it can be a problem. But the question I ask is it the biggest problem? Is it a man's biggest problem? Is it men's biggest problem? The answer is no. A man's urge for sexual attention, right, or for sex in general, is not men's biggest problem. It's not. Here's why. It is natural for men to want sex. I'm going to say it again. It is natural for men to want sex. And it is natural for men to have a high sex drive. That is the way God created us. I'm going to say it again. That is the way God created us. Now, in my opinion, men's number one problem is the type of women whom they decide to bond themselves with. A man's number one problem, right, if he has an issue, right, or men in general, their number one problem is the type of women who they choose to bond themselves with, right? So a man can have whatever his sex drive is. It can be whatever, right? If he bonds with the quote unquote right woman, she can fulfill that with no problem. I'm going to say it again. If he bonds with the right woman, she can fulfill that with no problem, right? The biggest component to that is communication, right? If you have 2 people who are sexually compatible, the next thing is communicating what you like, what you don't like, what turns you on, what turns you off, things of that nature. Outside of that, right, there are many women out here who can fulfill men sexually, as to where that man doesn't have to crash out or be out here cheating and doing stuff crazy and acting irrational, right? If she fulfills his sex drive. Now, you got a lot of guys out here who are bonding with the wrong women, right? There's a lot of women out here who are withholding sex, right, for that man. There are a lot of women out here who are also having these outrageous expectations, right? And I'm talking, we can just tap into the financial side of things. You have a lot of men out here crashing out, going out here, doing illegal activities to try to provide for a certain female, right? Or certain types of females. I'm going to say it again. You have a lot of men out here who are bonding with women, right? who have very, very high expectations, and we'll say financially, right? As to where there are a lot of men out here engaging in a lot of illegal activities, right? Just to make a certain amount of money, or just to receive a certain type of clout, or to, withhold a certain type of reputation. They're doing many things to try to please certain types of women. And in my opinion, those are men's number one problem, right? Or even if you step away from that, a man's spirituality, right? A man having a lack thereof, spirituality, a lack of a relationship with God, a lack of being able to follow and adhere to a higher power. That is a man's number one problem. Things of that nature. Sex, no, that's natural. That's a problem if you're not bonded with the right person, or if you're not bonded with anybody. You see what I'm saying? If you're not bonded with anybody, that might lead you to, do things that are against the law, right? Whether it be with children or with women, right? That may cause you to be out here crashing out, living recklessly, having sex with all kind of people that you have no business with, having sex with people, taking a risk. Maybe you mess with people who got diseases. Maybe you're paying for sex. See, when you don't have the right companion, or if you don't have a companion at all, that will cause this sex to be an issue, right? But sex in itself, if it's properly channeled, it's a great thing. If it's properly channeled, it's a great thing. Even if you have a high sex drive, if it's channeled properly, it is a great thing. It's not an issue at all. But if you bond again with the wrong person, or you don't have no one to bond with, then a man having high sex, or wanting sex so bad that he's off doing things he ain't got no, then it becomes a problem, right? So again, men wanting sex, whatever, that's not men's biggest problem. In fact, it's actually not a problem. It's not a problem. What's a problem is that companion on the other side, right? Or not having it, or a man not working on himself. Things like that. A man not being worthy of someone else who's worthy of that good relationship, or that good sexual relationship. That's the problem, but not a man having a high sex drive and wanting sex in itself. That's a natural act. That is a natural act, right? But when men crash out because they're bonded with the wrong person, and they start making all these, or they out here cheating. Let's say you bonded with someone, they don't give you none, or whatever the case may be, right? And you out here cheating, or you out here living a reckless life, then it becomes an issue. But whenever you're with someone, right, there should be a clear understanding of what the sex life should look like, right? Those expectations should be laid out on the table. Here's what I expect. What do you expect? Right? That should be laid out. But a man wanting sex, having a high sex drive, nah, it's not an issue in itself. Although men do crash out, but it's the other thing that's the issue, not him having a sex drive or wanting sex. That's not the issue. That's actually not the root of the issue, right? It's usually something else. And it could be his fault as to why he's not getting sex, or why he doesn't have anybody, so on and so forth. It could be his fault, right? But again, even if it is his fault, it's going to be things outside of sex alone in most cases. You see what I'm saying? Maybe he doesn't look up the part. Maybe he's not a solid man, right? Maybe his mental's not right. Maybe his physical's not right. Maybe his financial's not right, right? Maybe psychologically he's off. Maybe he's a butthole, right? There's a plethora of reasons, right, that leads to this looking like it's an issue, right? But again, his sex drive in itself is not an issue. His sex drive in itself is not an issue. Men, find women, bond with women who respect you. Find women who will follow your lead. Find women who will get with your program. Find women who take care of themselves, right? Find women who are fit, feminine, beautiful. All of those things. Find women who are on fire for God, one way or the other, right? Because if a man is bonded with the right woman, that man can get a certain type of motivation in life that will help him become the best version of himself. Now, he should be able to do it on his own. But there are women out here who men bond with, who push them and keep them in peace as that man chases after that vision, right? And he's able to thrive. And everything just comes back full circle. And able to have a great relationship, especially in the bedroom. Especially in the bedroom. But that's all I got for this video. Like this video. Share this video. Let me know something in the comments. I might be off. And subscribe to the YouTube, Speaks to Beast. And remember, guys, keep God first. Get married. Even if it's spiritual, right? Might not be on paper. Maybe you don't want to get the government involved. Get married, even if it's spiritually right. Meaning you're bonding with this person in your heart. You don't want nobody else. And you move as such. Right? And you guys are bonded spiritually. If you don't want to do it the legal way, but get married, then you can engage in these activities. But that's all I got for you guys. I love you all. Be blessed.